I hope that everyone who booed Zack Snyder is happy that now our movies mean nothing and have no content and have no effort and have no character development, have no story arc, have nothing to say and nothing to mean and nothing to be learned and nothing. Just nothing in general. That's what our movies are nowadays. I'm being a little bit sarcastic. I want to make it very clear that I'm a fan of Zack Snyder's superhero movies and not a huge fan of Zack Snyder's other movies. I don't think he's amazing. I'm not a shill. I don't think he's that great. I thought his superhero movies are a lot better. This is all on the topic of concerning, which has now been finally released on HBO Max, Superman, the new one. And I was just astonished to watch this movie. I was astonished. Okay, so I'll leave it that I was not willing to see it in theaters because I was not excited about it and I didn't think it was going to be good. I saw some feedback on the internets that said it was okay and that there were good parts and there were some good things about it. And so I was excited for it to come out to be HBO. My policy was I'm not going to spend money on this. I'm going to hope for the best. And if I enjoy it, then I'll be a little bit more psyched up for James Gunn's DCEU. That was my policy. So we watched it and it is, it's nothing. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. This movie is somehow less meaningful than like a standard Marvel movie. Like it legitimately felt like we sat down to watch this and then nothing happened for 2 hours and then the credits rolled. When I tell you this movie, it's just nothing. It's just a complete schlop of nothing it's got bad CGI. It's got bad visual effects. I know people make weird arguments about this stuff, but why should we settle for bad CGI? Okay, where are the people? Where are the people who remember good CGI? Okay, we know it was there. They had it just a few years ago. Okay, did y'all watch Pirates of the Caribbean? We had good CGI. We knew how to do it. Now we're doing schlop CGI. We're doing it on Marvel's projects. We're doing it on DC's projects. DC might be worse because they have to make it all quirky to match James Gunn's style. But that sort of plays into the Superman movie. Okay, the biggest problem with this movie is that nothing happens and nobody goes anywhere. Nothing means anything. There's no character development. I'm sure that some people who enjoyed this movie are going to make the argument that like something happened, but like it just didn't. Like when I tell you, like I like the idea of skipping Superman's origin story and just giving us like some raw Superman because everybody knows the origin story. So we kind of like start in the middle and we get him, sort of starting at the beginning of dating Lois Lane. And by the end, he's in love with Lois Lane and all of that kind of stuff. There will be spoilers, by the way, but there's no weight. Nothing has any weight. Like, yes, we see them together talking, but it doesn't have any weight. Like, there's nothing that takes them from X to Z. It's just the plot of the movie. Like, at the beginning, they're dating and something, and then the movie happens where they don't get closer together. They don't spend any time together throughout the movie, really. They have like one interview, and then Superman gets hurt, and then they're in love by the end of the movie. I'm pretty sure that's it. It's funny. Like it's fun, I guess. It wasn't even that fun though. Like it was fun, but again, just nothing happened. Like it was just like, it just felt like things were happening. Actually, that's probably the best way to put it. It's like no thing happened, but there were things happening. And that's exactly how the plot of the Superman movie feels like. It just feels like things falling into each other until the end of the movie happens. There is one good part. His name is Nicholas Hoult, and he played Lex Luthor. And I think he did a good job. And the character was actually interesting. And because if anybody has a character arc or any development whatsoever, it is Nicholas Hoult's Lex Luthor. It's not really development though, and it's not really an arc. So it's still not that great, but you get to see him wrestling with his narcissism and his ego at the fear of something being greater than him, which I think is actually an interesting concept. But they still kind of managed to break it down to just this childish level of where he's kind of just screaming about it. Like it ends up at the end of the movie, he's just kind of screaming about the fact that he hates that Superman has superpowers and he doesn't. And they oversimplified it. So they took what I think is a good concept and could have been done so much better and just kind of oversimplified it. And then Superman's just a non-character. People have made this point, but like he has no agency. He doesn't want anything other than to help people, which is sort of true to Superman's character, but it's also like more complicated than that. Like he's aware of his like responsibility and his ability and his agency. And it just feels like he doesn't have any agency. It's just like saving squirrels and getting defeated throughout this entire movie. Like when I tell you Superman does not even win a fight, and when he does win a fight, he needs help to do it. Right? Yeah. No, there's not a single fight that he wins on his own. It's sort of justifying that he wins the final fight by inviting Krypto the Superdog to help him. That sort of makes sense. Yes. Because that is within his resources. But it still feels like he's like not strong. There's not even a moment in this where we see that he's like bulletproof or invulnerable to anything. He's just getting hurt all the time, actually. And he's like always tired, even when kryptonite is not involved. So Superman's just defeated constantly throughout the movie. And then we get to see James Gunn's favorite character, Mr. Terrific, doing stuff instead and defeating all the people and being essentially the main character. Mr. Terrific is basically the main superhero character. I'm pretty sure he has more action scenes than Superman in this movie. I'm actually like, that might actually be true. Like, that's not a sarcasm. And people are liking Mr. Terrific. I get it. It was fun. Like, it was fun to see the guy as Mr. Terrific. The actor did a good job. But my wife made the point when we were watching it that this is just like a shill. That's just like a shill thing. Like, oh, here's a cool, quirky comic book character. This is what James Gunn does, by the way. Here's a quirky comic book character you've never seen on the big screen before. We're going to put him here. Okay. And he's going to be so cool. Look how cool he is. And the Justice Gang was cool. I liked it. It was cool to see them, but I won't be shilled to. I'm not a 15-year-old, and I will not be shilled to enjoy your movie. You cannot just put quirky characters and then give them like a record drop fight scene, one record drop fight scene. By the way, there's like one solid fight scene in this movie. It is Mr. T in the T-Spheres. And I actually think it's undone by having it to be to goofy music, because that's what James Gunn likes, instead of like cool music or just regular music or a freaking good score, because we can't have that either. We also just have, it's just the rescore of the original Superman, which is fun to hear once, but like, I don't know. Just let it be the original Superman. I feel like every iteration deserves to get their own score. Hans Zimmer's Superman score is incredible for Man of Steel. It's so good. And I just feel like he deserves his own score. Obviously, there's some elements that they made changes to and stuff like that, but there's nothing memorable about the music, about the set dressing. I can like barely remember the plot, and I just watched it last night. Like, I can barely remember the plot of this movie. And I'm the type of person, like, I pay attention to, like, I know my movies, like, in and out. I can quote the ones I like, having watched them once. I focus in, I hone in on details, and I think about it. I'm very critical of movies. I love enjoying movies. I'm a movie lover. And this movie, it's just boring, honestly. Like, it just feels, again, like scenes tumbling into scenes. Mr. Terrific saves the day, and yeah, there's some quirky, fun stuff that happens in between. There's a lot of CGI. We spend like the entire middle portion of the movie just in like the Phantom Zone. I think it's the Phantom Zone, or a pocket universe, basically. So we end up just in like, it feels like Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. There's like a huge fight with a CGI dog, a CGI baby, an entire CGI environment against entirely CGI enemies with entirely CGI Metamorpho character fighting against entirely CGI space. Everything feels weightless, and it has just no impact. It's just completely nothing. Everybody knows that the baby's not going to die, and that Superman's not going to die, so there's no stakes. And that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. And then the movie the movie just kind of ends too. There's like some other plan for killing Superman, and then he manages to get around it. And at just no point feels like Superman. Like, they have some shots where he looks like Superman, but at no point does he feel like Superman. I think David Cornswet, I believe that's his name, I think he's doing a fine job as an actor. He's a bit of an interesting cast, as far as I can tell. I think visually he matches Superman, but I'm not sure that his vibes match Superman completely perfectly. There's almost like no Clark Kent in this movie also. Like, very, very little Clark Kent. They kind of like dip into it just like a tiny baby bit, but that's like it. And so everything memorable is kind of just not Superman. And I think that's the biggest critique of people have been having of this movie. It's just like a Superman movie that's not even about Superman. So it's kind of weird. It kind of feels weird to everybody involved. Did you enjoy the Superman movie? I promise you I'm not a Zack Snyder show. Okay, I don't love everything. I don't love everything that Zack Snyder does. Actually, I dislike most things that Zack Snyder does. I feel the need that I have to say this like every time, okay? But I happen to think that Man of Steel is a great freaking movie and a great Superman movie. And I like the 80s Superman movies. I haven't seen them in a while, but they're quite good. The Christopher Reeve movies, okay? Superman is a character that we to some degree know what to do with. But at this point in the year of our Lord 2025, let's do something new. Let's innovate, and let's do something interesting that's not just like quirky, random, meaningless, and nothingness. That's just continued, poured out comic schlop. The movie barely has a plot, like just nothing dry. It's just Lex Luthor trying to kill Superman, which is in essence the plot. But again, there's no character arcs. So we don't have Superman trying to get from point A to point B at all. Like, the only thing that he maybe wrestles with is like not being... He wrestles with the fact that his parents sent him there for the wrong reasons, but he is his own person, I guess. But there's not really any progression. He kind of just decides that. Like, he, at the beginning, is like, oh, my parents sent me here to be awesome. Then he finds out that his parents sent him there to, like, I kid you not, like, create a harem with the entire species of Earth and conquer it, which is like really funny. It's just really funny. I don't recall whether that's in the comics or not, so I'm not going to speak on it and get myself in trouble. And then he gets upset because that's not what he wants to do. And then his dad basically tells him, like, it's not that you wanted to do that, it's that you wanted to be the other thing, and so that's who you are. And he's like, oh, chill, you're right. Solid point. And then he's not, and he saves some people. He does a lot of saving people. I think that's great. They showed some good parts of Superman, but very little good parts of Superman. Also, he's wearing underoos, and I just can't get into it. I feel like there are ways that the underoos could have been made to look better, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to be too picky. Apparently, I'm being too picky. I like some things about this movie, but I did not like this movie. I would not watch it again. There's very little reason to watch it again. Like, once you watch it once, I feel like you get the main point. A lot of it's just silly, stupid James Gunn stuff. And I'm convinced at this point, after having now watched The Suicide Squad, after having watched the second and third Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and having now watched Superman, that James Gunn is not a good director, and he is actually not that talented. And yeah. All of the good James Gunn scripts have been scripts that were written either with or by other people, and then James Gunn was just brought in to direct. That's been all of his good movies. That's Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Then in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which is a bad movie objectively, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, they just let him do whatever he wanted to do, and those movies are not good movies. They have some interesting good elements in them, but they're almost like usurped by how weird James Gunn wants it to be, because James Gunn's weird. I just don't understand why everything has to be weird. Like, I'm fine if you want to put quirky Mr. Terrific in your movie, but like, I just feel like making the entire movie, the entire middle portion is just James Gunn wanting you to see him rescue Metamorpho's like green alien son inside the Phantom Zone, and it just feels like James Gunn on LSD. That's what you're doing. You're just enjoying James Gunn on LSD for like the middle portion of the movie, and then he remembers that it's like a Superman movie, and he's got to get back to what he was doing. So yeah, I don't think James Gunn is good at his job. I don't think she should be in charge of DC. I don't have hope for the future of DC. The Batman is probably going to be good, and James Gunn's Batman is probably not going to be good. That is where I would say my prediction is. Maybe if he gives the reins to somebody else on the Batman and Damian Wayne project, it could be good, but I don't have high expectations. I probably won't see it in theaters, which is crazy because Batman is my favorite superhero. I've watched every Batman movie in theaters for all time, forever. And it would be saying a lot if I don't do that. So we'll see. We'll see when the trailer comes out, but I'm going to not try to let myself get hype derailed. But if it looks as goofy as this movie was, like, you can't make a goofy Batman movie. I guess Tim Burton did it a little bit. I liked Tim Burton's first Batman movie, but I don't like really any of the other 80s Batman movies. They're fun to watch somewhat funnily, but they still managed to have like the dark vibe even in the midst of goofiness. Like Batman Returns is Tim Burton, obviously, and then the Joel Schumacher movies still also managed to be like really dark while being kind of weird. So it's just not the same. There's just a lot of differences about it, I feel like. Anyways, that's my ramble. That's my rant. Did you enjoy Superman? If you did, I just think you're wrong, but you can tell me. You can tell me that you enjoyed Superman if you did. I'm not saying it has to go back. I'm not saying restore the Snyderverse. I would love if the Snyderverse was restored. I personally loved it. Everybody's got variant opinions on it. That's fine. That's okay. I'm okay with the fact that everybody didn't like it, and so therefore they should move forward with something different. But this ain't it, Chief. This is not what they should be moving forward with. It should be something else. Something better. Something not James Gunn. Those are my thoughts and my opinions. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.